Hey everybody, it's us again.
Always us again.
Always these guys.
If you're one of the 2 subscribers to the channel, you know who we are.
And it's great, but you know what? It's a loyal and loving audience. I think one of them might be me, but I don't know what's
How
going
we
on with
boost
that.
our numbers around
It's
here.
how we
We
boost our
subscribe
numbers.
ourselves.
I'm gonna just sit there and like live stream this and have like 15 computers open,
There we
force
go.
our students to tune in at the same time. That's one way to get your numbers up. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's
That
talk. Today, clearly from the images, this is the Ottoman invasion of Constantinople.
Yes.
I can't
Figure out why they changed their name, what brought that about, and then
why it is
why
Istanbul.
Churchill wanted to save it so much during World War One, and we can go into that.
Churchill, of course, being represented by either the Krampus or the creepier Santa, because that Santa, that middle Santa, has seen some stuff.
He's walked in on a few things coming down a chimney, and
and
just starts backing away.
Or no, I don't think he backed away. Those eyebrows do not say he backed away. Those eyebrows say hello. Disturbingly so.
She's gonna grab my cookie and leave.
What y'all doing?
I'll leave this here for you.
This is when we get fired. I'm sort of okay with that. So today we are going to talk about the holiday season. Yeah. So in your opinion, Schnetty, when does the holiday season like really kick off?
October.
October?
But October. October 1st, right? You start putting your Halloween stuff out, especially if you got a yard. If you're going to put stuff in your yard for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
You want it up for a good bit of time. You don't want to put it up for like a week and then it goes away.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, I'm not going to do the things like the stores do, right? Where it's Halloween in August at the Home Depot and the Michaels, and then it's Christmas time in October, right?
Yeah.
But if you're at the house. Right, if you do Halloween, right, you put up the Halloween decorations, but you put stuff outside, right? You get the 12-foot skeleton from the Home Depot.
Man, that thing killed. Excuse the expression. It was amazing.
I saw a guy who then put a Santa hat and a big old sack of toys on its back and made it a 12-foot skeleton Santa.
He's been dieting.
A la Jack Skellington from.
A la Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now. The most depressing one, though, like the truly depressing one that just hits me every time, is you go into the stores maybe December 26th, right, to go start spending your
That's all
gift
gone. No, go earlier than that.
It's freaking Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That makes me sick. It's like you get in there, and it's literally December 25th, and they're starting to move things out. It's Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. What are you doing in the
store December 25th?
It's usually CVS. And I usually have to get some antacids.
Okay.
Because of all the other stuff on that thing. The kid with the Christmas trees makes me super reflux.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it's so quickly we are. I think it's one of the big things about the holidays. The reason it's the holiday season and we started October is there's something about our culture that has become obsessed with these off celebrations that 200 years ago we're not the big celebrations.
I'd say 100 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Right? Christmas is not a kids' holiday towards kids until we get commercialized.
Yeah.
We have a little bit in the 20s, right? Coca-Cola and the Santa Clauses as an example.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really take off until post-World War II, where it turns the same thing with Halloween, right? This whole idea of going around and trick or treat and all that stuff, that's a post-World War II thing. And that's what kind of sparked my idea for this. When I sent you the text about the idea about right? This I was just kind of walking the dog, and I was thinking, the Halloween one, that day's pretty set.
Yeah.
But there's, Thanksgiving's not always been the fourth Thursday in November. Right, it was set there by FDR. Right, there's always this debate every year about, well, there's no way that Christ was born on December 25th.
Oh,
they wouldn't be out in the fields and they start making these arguments, and well, they just stole the day from
the pagans.
The pagans, thank you. Right, so all that stuff kind of plays into it, but then you get into the secularization of it as well. Right, the secularization of especially a Christian holiday, right? And the word holiday is a
Holy day.
bastardization. The holy days,
Well,
right?
it's that amount. It's that portmanteau of holy day.
Yeah,
So let's real quick, because I know from my students, I had to really define the word secular. Secular is a word that gets them to raise an eyebrow and go, "What did you say?"
yeah,
But the secularization is focused on a non-religious world.
yeah.
And there's nothing really wrong with secularization because, especially when we're talking about the Reformation in my class right now, you see the beginnings of the separation of church and state and the legitimate monopoly on control and who gets that. But holidays are something that we have taken on. Like post World War II, holidays and the fact that you can celebrate these holidays so extravagantly, that's a big show
That's,
of
that's a big commercialism thing.
it's
Well,
a
and
big
how
well, it's a
about
big
the
show of
fact?
economic
How about the,
gain.
the Christmas in Asia, right? In Santa Claus in Asia.
Oh.
There's no religious aspect to that. It's here's this secular creature in Santa Claus, figure in Santa Claus, and we'll get to the Saint Nicholas part and the religious aspect of where that comes from in a second. But it's been secularized where even if you're not Christian, you can celebrate some version of Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also old enough to remember when there was a big debate about the Xmas.
Oh,
and what
yes.
were you doing? Why are you replacing Christ with an X? Right. So there's always been kind of this religious kind of pushback. Sometimes the secularization.
Wait, was that the first volley in the quote unquote war on Christmas?
Because this was in the 70s. I remember that in the 70s.
Well, yeah. Okay. So looking at that, Futurama. You know Futurama?
Yeah, I know Futurama.
The show Super Futurama. They jump ahead 1,000 years, and the only thing that's left is Xmas because we've used it so much. It's no longer called Christmas. It is Xmas. Yeah. And Xmas trees are palm trees and all these things like that because of all the changes. I think the thing about that, and the reason I bring it up is all of the stuff on here, these are all changes we've made to these holidays, additions we've made to these holidays.
We take, and here in the United States, in America, we've taken, like we always do, we take stuff from everywhere, spin it a little bit, Americanize it, and make it uniquely American, right? The Christmas we celebrate in the United States is a little Nordic, is a little Germanic, is a little English, sprinkle in a little of this and a little of that, and you got an American Christmas like nobody's business. That is one part religious and one part secular commercialization, if you will, right? And that's American Christmas. That's what we do.
Right? Well, you want to go down the list? You want to start with Halloween?
Yeah, let's start with Halloween.
I like Halloween. Halloween, I think, is more fun now as an adult than it ever was when I was a kid. Halloween was I hated the costumes because after a while they started to be annoying.
Yeah.
Because we never made our own. Well, actually, no, it's a lie. When I was younger, we made our own costumes, and my Ghostbusters costume, bless my mother's heart, she did her dangdest with overalls, like coveralls, and an old vacuum cleaner that I got to tie to my back that we still had to use. I couldn't be too rough with it because we still had to use the vacuum cleaner as my proton pack.
Yeah,
because we couldn't afford the proton pack back in the day, and it was just finding and making your own costume was a lot of fun.
How about the plastic masks?
Those things, I can still, my tongue hurts.
With the plastic outfit that goes with it. It was all plastic. It was all...
That's straight up American like industry right there. Yeah. We can make this out of plastic, but the mask, with it hit your tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so god-awful.
But again, it's All Hallows Eve. It's the day before a church holiday.
Yep.
All Saints Day, right? This day that you are supposed to go to church and you honor those that have gone before you over the past year, right? And a lot of church, and in my church, we still do it on All State Sunday.
Yeah.
Right, where every member of the church that passed away is honored, and we ring the bell.
Yeah, and we've actually added the point where you can remember family members that you want to. Yeah. We've added that as well, so it makes for a very long procession.
But this whole idea of going around knocking, trick or treating, and all that other stuff, right? There's this whole idea of Devil's Night. I don't even remember when History Channel actually did history, like in the early 2000s ish, right? They had this great little series, right? These great little specials, the history of Halloween, the history of Thanksgiving, the history of Christmas, right? And this is kind of what I was thinking on that dog walk, and maybe we could talk about this a little bit about the history, how it kind of expanded, and then kind of like our favorite little part of each one, because when you're talking about holidays, it's It's cool to talk about things that you can remember, right?
Well, yeah, because
Trick or treating in the snow. For
goodness.
one.
Oh, that's the thing about this particular place where we are here. It was the first time it was cold in years. Remember, it was also rainy the past couple of years too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like insanely rainy, like torrential downpour. But it was super rainy. But I'm going to tell you that there's so many different conflicting histories of Halloween.
Yeah.
It's the idea of All Hallows Eve is believed, there was this kind of idea of reciprocity, right? All Saints Day is basking in the light of God and basking in the light of the saints. Well, clearly for because of the yin yang of it all, All Hallows Eve has to be that time when the other side gets their night.
Yeah.
And the idea that I remember my mom's like, the veil is so thin,
right? And you never went out at night.
Oh,
Because
God, no.
nothing was lit up, right?
And the darkness they got back then, not to sound like an old fogey, but the darkness that we're talking about
dark.
is like beyond darkness.
The light pollution doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Until the modern era, 20th century.
So if there's not a moon, and you don't see anything.
And you don't go out at night because going way back in history, who's out at night? Criminals.
Wolves,
right?
Criminal wolves,
road bandits, and that plays into stuff that comes around Halloween, right?
Yes,
the werewolves, right?
Absolutely.
Vampires, right? Witches, right? All those things that we love at Halloween are all out at night, and Halloween's the one night we're all out.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But then again, like you said, like your mom said, the veil is thin between
so you don't know
this plane and that plane, right?
And if you're of that mindset, it could be a robber or it could be a demon.
Yeah.
Or it could be a goblin or the things that you thought weren't real.
Yeah.
Holy crap, what if they are? That
Give
little
us
bit
a
of
trick,
magic.
or give us a treat, or we're going to give you a trick. And the trick's not a good trick either. No. We're going to mess some stuff up.
Yep.
Right?
Kick over milk. We're going to do some nasty things to you.
Yeah.
But if you placate us, because that's where it came from in many like Irish and English places, you'd set something out so the demons would go away. They'd be like, oh, a cake, and they'd go away. And the kids would come and be like, holy crap, somebody left a cake. And they'd go and do it. And if you didn't do it the next year, they'd be like, dude, old man Henson didn't take it. Let's burn his house down.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And then, okay, let's take it 20th century. That's the Devil's Night.
Oh, yes.
The day before Halloween in cities like Detroit that would burn half the city down and half the neighborhoods down because it was kids doing mischief.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And that was part of it during the Depression and during World War II when most of the men were off fighting at war, and you have young boys being without male supervision, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got to organize it where you make it look like, or not look like, but you kind of organize it where everybody in the community, everybody in the town, everybody in the street is kind of playing into this rambunctiousness. And we're going to give you, so we can take the stuff from the superstitious paganist beliefs and roll it in. But don't remember, now, the next day or the next Sunday, get your butt in church, right? Because that's going to be All Saints Sunday, right? Yeah, it's a somber day.
It's a sober, somber day, but before that, we want to let loose.
Yeah.
It's the Fat Tuesday before.
Exactly, and it's the same. You see the same
Mardi
thing
Gras.
with Mardi Gras, with the celebration of that, right? You have this big, expensive, exuberant overindulgence, and then right back in line with, okay, remember, this is still a holiday. This is a holy day. We're going to reach back into there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you take away the religion from it in a secular society, it's a weird kind of cold turkey stop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you had this bacchanalia where you went out the night before and you got hammered, or you had a bunch of candy, or you wore something that was highly revealing, which I did apologize to you for.
That's all right.
And and it won't happen again. But I'm telling you, all of these kind of like the losing of inhibitions, and then there's the next day, but there's no religious thing to make you go, okay, now I can atone for it. It's this kind of, we don't talk to each other. I walk out of the apartment, nobody looks at me.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry about your couch.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
I'm sober enough now I can drive home.
Thanks for
letting me crash here. Right. And so I don't crash out there.
And which, by the way,
but do we lose the religious aspect of it? Because do you then go to church the next Sunday if your church does the All Saints thing? So now we know a lot of churches don't do that because there's a Catholic connection to it that some of the more breaking Protestant religions broke away from all the Catholic stuff, right?
And it's also, well, first off, what was I going to say? Real quick, important question. Are you a full-size candy bar giver or are you a fun-size candy bar giver?
We do the fun size because we got a whole bunch of kids, and we have we're one of the neighborhoods where kids from other places come to our
Oh,
neighborhood.
okay, yeah, that
So
makes that makes sense.
I'm a school teacher. I can't afford full
Yeah,
size candy bars for only myself.
yeah.
I'm not giving them to little kids, right? Those type of things. But I am the guy that sits out front, and when I'm tired and I want to go in, I find the middle school boys walking down, go, "Hey boys, come here,
Shunk.
take it all,"
Yeah,
and I'm done.
that's your one good deed.
Yeah,
It's a Halloween miracle.
yeah,
That's the thing, and the thing about that is, especially if you look in the '90s, in the early 2000s, there was a big backlash against it. Religion tried to intrude back again
yeah.
by creating hell houses, which is you don't go through a haunted house, you go through a house that will show you what hell will be like. All based, I want you to know, on a secular writer, Dante Alighieri.
Yeah.
All his ideas, they're like, oh, this is what hell's going to be like. Are you sure? I don't know if the devil has the time to be that kind of ironic. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, and then, all right, now you do it now. Like our church does a trunk or treat.
There you
You
go.
embrace it. You
Embrace
embrace it
it.
and make sure you understand. Hey, now Sunday, you need to come here because this is what we're doing on Sunday. We're gonna celebrate the life. We're gonna talk about the people that's gone before us that have gotten to their heavenly home. This is the whole purpose of this whole little time
Yeah.
period that includes you kids getting candy. But
Yeah.
there is a religious aspect to it.
And our church did a candy tithe. There are kids that didn't have a chance to go out and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
you give some of your candy to them, which I think is, I understand the intention. I don't think it's a good idea to give a bunch of people really bad processed sugar.
Yeah, yes.
But
But it's the we always do a food drive in October.
oh, absolutely.
Kind of the same idea.
That's
right?
the thing as well. So Halloween comes at the time of harvest, where you've got the pumpkins coming in, and the scary
gourds.
thing, the gourds,
The gourds, you can cut them
And-
open and up and up and up and go from there.
the mini gourds. But you've also got this fear of what if the harvest is bad? So
Yeah.
let's leave out something so the harvest will be good.
Yes.
And that leads you into, and you start the canned food drives, and that leads us to our next one, Thanksgiving.
Which is misplaced.
Absolutely.
There's no way the pilgrims are having that type of meal in late November. So we start there, right? And if you understand that it's President FDR that puts it the fourth Thursday,
Mhm.
and if we can get past this, well, that's not the day. No, he wants to kick off the shopping season because we're in a depression,
Yep.
right? We get it. I know. Can't Canada? Anybody's in Canada. Sorry, but anybody's in Canada, right? We know the Canadian Thanksgiving's like in early October,
Absolutely.
late September, early October, whenever it is, and it's Canada, so we don't really care when it is, right?
We're glad they have their tradition.
Yeah, right.
We love our
But
Canadian
we
friends.
moved ours up, but it's still part of the whole harvest thing. You're eating hearty stuff that's going to last, stuff that you're going to have excess of, or at least hopefully have excess of, to get you through the winter, because you're not going to be able to grow anything
No.
for a few months.
And one of the big things there is an understanding, and it's kind of, especially after World War II, it is an understanding. It's one of the four freedoms posters, remember? It's not even it's freedom from want. I believe that's
Yeah.
what it is. And Norman Rockwell puts that one to show.
And the Saturday
this-
Evening Post
the
cover.
Saturday Evening Post cover. The big turkey, the person at the end. Thanksgiving,
That's a Yankee Thanksgiving, by the way.
that's a Yankee Thanksgiving. I'm fine with that.
We don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the South
They have
for a
stuffing.
long time
Why not?
because it's a Yankee holiday.
Okay.
It's Abraham
It's-
Lincoln's holiday. It's a Yankee holiday. It's a Massachusetts holiday, right?
Wow.
We're gonna let that little thing fester in us a little bit. And the first time, like Southern boys will get introduced to it is
When they
World
go to
War
college.
One.
Oh yeah, there you go.
When they had World War One
They put it
and
in
or
their-
World
in the
War
rations.
Two, right?
Yeah.
When they start doing these Thanksgiving feasts for the soldiers in Europe, in the Pacific, in places like that, and then the Norman Rockwell thing, and then it starts taking off. But
Then
it's not a big national holiday because it never had a prescribed day.
Yeah.
Lincoln, if I remember correctly, just calls for a national day of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right, and it's going to be in the fall. I mean, there's more to it. Don't get all ticky-tacky with the details there. But Lincoln, and that's the other thing. It's a Lincoln holiday, right? The rail splitter did it, and hell, we ain't gonna like that.
No, we aren't.
So
But
So it's a Yankee holiday for a long before then it kind of explodes and we get things like turduckens and Cajun fried turkeys now.
No,
And,
that was amazing. My brother-in-law fried the hell out of that
right?
Cajun turkey.
But
I don't know how he knew it was Cajun.
But 77, it was. You grew up in Louisiana. They talk funny. I mean, go gobble gobble.
Go, y'all. Get that one.
Get that one. Right.
So that's the thing. It's once again, these holidays no longer mean what they originally did. And Halloween originally was stay the hell inside, keep away from the scary things.
Except for the one day.
Except for the one day.
Night, right? The one night.
But Thanksgiving is now a sign of we're doing well, and it's kind of like a litmus test for your family. Macy's.
The Thanksgiving Day parade.
Oh my
Where
Lord.
does it end?
It ends at Macy's.
It ends at Macy's front door.
Ends at Macy's
and
front
Macy's
door.
window. Show window. That's where all the stars are. Dude. That's where they all line up to do their songs and stuff like that. Yeah, and then they have the big display. Right?
Oh,
window,
yes.
Big window display. That was pure commercialism.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's also it's a consumer holiday of we can do this. Look how fortunate we are. We no longer have to ration. We no longer have to do this stuff. We've kind of lost that. We've lost sight of that. Now it's become all about family and like togetherness and crap.
Yeah, it is.
It's not a flex on like the
and
communist
you get all these articles about how to talk to your relatives about politics and the things at the dinner. How do you deal with the crazy drunk uncle and if you don't know who the crazy drunk uncle is, it's probably you.
It's
right?
you.
Right? But we got to get taught how to talk to each other nicely in the holiday season or at Thanksgiving because different generations think differently.
So may I ask you, have you ever had a Thanksgiving where you couldn't get home and so you made do with friends? Have you ever had a Friendsgiving kind of thing? Oh, that took some.
Well, I'm trying to I mean, I don't really.
I mean, I'm sure you brought friends with you.
I don't really care about Thanksgiving and care for Thanksgiving. It's okay. Well, one, I grew up watching the Lions play. I grew up in Michigan, so we had to watch the Lions. And the Lions, if you know anything about it, get their butts kicked on Thanksgiving more often than not. Right? They're like on a 7-game losing streak now. Right? So you get, and I never was a big Thanksgiving person. It doesn't do anything for me.
See, that's where you and I differ on this one. I love Thanksgiving. My family has created traditions around Thanksgiving. I came in from a big Italian Catholic family. So my Thanksgivings growing up had Italian sausage, eggplant parmigiana, like shrimp, and also from New Orleans. So there was shrimp infused dressing. Not stuffing,
it's dressing.
Dressing.
It's dressing in the South.
And so what happens is it's a big Catholic family, and I've had upwards of 120 people at a Thanksgiving I've gone to, and they're all somehow magically related to me.
Yeah.
But what happened was, especially around COVID times, and a little bit before, we started going up to my in-laws. We went up to either my mother and father-in-laws, or we went to my wife's grandmother. And doing so, much smaller, much more intimate, it was a strange feeling going from 65 people on average to 7. And I would get up like at 4 a.m, like I usually do, and start getting things prepped and everything's ready to go. And they kind of do this kind of grab and go and like go back and watch the TV, watching the Lions play.
Yeah.
I remember her grandfather watching the football game.
That's what you do.
It's what you want. But I was just flabbergasted. I was like, what do we? Because my family will eat lunch and then we'll wait the 5 hours talking to each other, which, whew, and there, I need a coach. And then we'll start eating the dinner, and then we divvy up whatever's left, and everybody goes home with doggy bags. Yeah. And that's the thing. This past one, I was tapped to do 2 turkeys. For the first time, I had to turn 43, Schnetty, to be allowed to do a turkey. And I feel I nailed it. But it's a new thing, and it was a big deal. So-and-so has the green bean casserole this year. Who's got corn casserole? Aunt Kathy doesn't want to do corn casserole. Who's doing the corn casserole? Capital T, capital C, capital other C.
Yeah.
The corn casserole. And so you've got all that stuff, and it was all about that. And so who's getting tapped to do the prayer this year? Because the prayer has, good God, I love my mother. The prayer had 2 pages. Scripted. But it was just like we've made our own. a pie contest. My siblings and I have a pie contest.
Yeah.
And it gets the crap talking before the pie contest, Schnetty, gets nasty. Nasty, like calling each other names. We can't insult each other's moms because it's our mom. And so, but we don't call in parentage, but we do call in some nasty things. We're like, oh, you're always the favorite, et cetera, et cetera. But it's little things. Like my family was like, when's the pie contest this year? Can I come in next time? And the answer was a resounding no.
Yeah.
It's not your contest, but you can judge.
See, I think, okay, so I grew up in Michigan, and then we moved down here. It was 11, 10, 11, 12, whatever I was, right? And we did a few things, but we always kind of hung out with all the cousins all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's a smaller town, right? So
Yeah.
we're always kind of around it. And Thanksgiving wasn't that big of a deal. It's just we're going to get together and we're going to watch the Lions at noon and the Cowboys at 3:30, and right, and we're going to do those sorts of things. And
we might have food while we do so.
There's going to be food, and we'll probably have a ham, or if somebody's already got a deer, we already got a wild turkey. Like Grandpa one year won a turkey shoot.
Nice.
Like literally won the turkey shoot.
Yeah.
The prize at the turkey shoot is a turkey, not a Butterball turkey, a turkey.
A big old.
Like alive, put it in the back of the Buick, take it to the house, somebody stretch out his neck, take the hatchet, chunk, watch the thing flap around for a few minutes, and then start defeathering and going from there, which is great because we ate pheasant, and we probably have, most of the time we'd have pheasant.
Oh, that's
because it's pheasant season. We'd have pheasant or maybe a rabbit. If a rabbit got caught in the crossfire of a pheasant hunt, right? We'd have those types of things.
Yeah.
But it was never anything different, right? We it's what we always did, right? And then when I moved down here and we're away from all that, me and my dad discovered a place called Whataburger.
You're welcome.
And Whataburger was like, well, hell yeah, it's just you and I. You want to? No, it's too much work. Let's go get a double meat Whataburger, a large fry, and go from there, right? And watch the Lions and watch the Cowboys, or
have your Whataburger
or whatever we want to cook at the house that day if we didn't want to do those sorts of things, right? So it never really becomes a big deal for us. For me, it's still really not. It's to me, it's another meal.
Yeah.
Right. And nowadays we do it at the same time we normally eat dinner, anyways.
So there you go.
So it's just another meal. I like the pageantry around it, the commercialization, right? I understand all that stuff, and it's like, to me. I mean, and so like I put up Christmas like the week of Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
pre-Christmas. And part of it is the fact that that's when we're off, so we're gonna have time to do it. Right? That's when the time is, right? But I'm the only one still on our street that has stuff up. It's now December, or getting close to be December 1st on Friday, right? And I was like, a little late this year. But then I look at the calendar for next year. Did you look at the calendar next year?
I did not.
Thanksgiving is like the 28th
Jeez.
of November next year, so it's really late, right?
Okay.
But to me, Thanksgiving is a commercialized holiday.
Sure.
Right, because it never had a set date. Different nations around the world that have a national day of Thanksgiving all have it at a different time.
Yeah.
Ours is set up to literally kick off the shopping season.
And you know what? I'm fine with that.
Because the day after is called
Black
Friday. And then 2 days later now we have
Cyber Monday.
And Saturday is
Small Business Saturday.
Right? We have the stuff to remind you to go shopping.
And there's Charity Tuesday and like Giving Sunday where you focus on like making sure you have enough money left over to. I think we've actually parsed it out. I'm fine with it being commercialized. Yeah, I think it actually works better.
You have this big meal, and I think with all the onset of like the Cooking Channel and the Food Network, right? This whole idea of meal prep and being able to deep fry a 16-pound turkey now, right?
I smoked 2 13-pound turkeys, dude.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
So, and it kind of leads us into that, but. You have a few people that always lament, well, what about Thanksgiving? Don't put anything up before Thanksgiving. You're forgetting about Thanksgiving. And we have a couple people in the neighborhood that have like, now I might get one. This is South Bank, I don't really care about Thanksgiving, but an inflatable turkey to put in your yard.
And putting up the image of the animal you're going to eat and going, I got you.
Right? My mind goes, if we can just take the inflatable black cat, just disconnect that from the extension cord, plug in an inflatable turkey for about 3 weeks, and then plug in the inflatable snowman and now my Donald Duck.
Now you're Donald
my
Duck.
inflatable Donald Duck that's in the front of my yard, right? All bright and shiny, big orange bill, big red suit on.
Is this bill orange or is it yellow?
And do all the lights and the thingies. And,
I get you.
right.
But so then we come to, I think, the most contentious of all the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as neither of us are Jewish and cannot speak to Hanukkah and its commercialization or non-commercialization.
8 days of presents, though.
8 days of one really good present.
Yeah. 8 days of gifts.
So
right?
it's quality.
Yeah.
Which I like. But Christmas or Xmas, however you want to say it.
Well, I'll go back to that really quick because that then you finally get some theologians that said, well, the X is not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
because in
Greek,
right, the X would be exactly what
Christo.
would have been there. So, but I remember that debate. Clearly, that debate, late 70s, early 80s, about we're taking Christ out of Christmas, and people going, well, if we go back to that and you start using some of these, more hidden or secretive or older writings,
the old
right,
stuff,
it can still work. Right.
Oh, absolutely. The ichthus.
We don't have to, right? And then you get the ichthus fish, right? We start bringing that back. But okay, which tradition do you like with Christmas?
So,
and can you get past the fact that we celebrate it in December?
The big thing.
It doesn't matter that it's in December.
No. The religious part of it is that because here's the thing. This is the way they plugged it into where it was. Christmas, and this is going to sound creepy, and it was put forth by my favorite author, Terry Pratchett, and I wholeheartedly agree.
Well, you're pushing the religion onto the pagans
to
make connections, right?
Because there's a major connection, though.
Yeah.
The big connection is blood. Christmas, at its heart, is about blood. He says, grabbing his...
No, I've been messing with this roll of tape the whole time.
Christmas is about blood. Santa wears red for a reason. It is the blood sacrifice. Now, the pagans were sacrificing animals that they had saved for that winter feast, right? You cut it, the blood on the snow.
Yeah.
We have this pagan sacrifice. We sacrifice this to the gods to make sure the gods bring back the sun. And the Christians come in and go, I'll save you a pig, bud. The sacrifice was already made. You don't have to make the sacrifice anymore.
Yeah.
But here you go. So who do we choose? Like there's St. Nicholas, as you see in the bottom right. He's around this time, but...
Well, go on, tell us about him. You're going to play him in a couple weeks.
That's true. St. Nicholas is an amalgamation of the Bishop of Myra and Odin, the Norse god. Odin, the Norse god, who sends out Hugin and Munin, the two crows, to learn what you're doing, to learn your secrets. He knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. That's Odin. St. Nicholas, the giving of gifts to others, the showing of God's grace and mercy through the gifts and the judgment of the good and the evil. That's St. Nicholas. The sleigh, the deer, the pulling of it and the disappearing down your chimney, that's Odin again.
Yeah. It's the Nordic tradition.
Oh yeah, we're like we need a white-haired bearded guy to get these Norse on our side. Saint Nicholas. Yeah. Nicholas will do it. And so that's the thing. It's this idea that the sacrifice is transferred from the pig to the ultimate sacrifice in Christianity, the life given in exchange for ours. And the idea is the pagans are like, well, I mean, that's a great story, but can we still eat the pig? And the Christians are like, sure.
Yeah.
And they're like, can we still give each other gifts? Yes. Oh, then slap that on there, man. Yeah. Let's do this.
Let us tell you about him and the gifts that were brought for him and the reasons those gifts are so important.
Oh,
him,
yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing. And that is the point of it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Right? I never understood the debate of, well, there's no way he was born in... I don't care about the date. It's the reason.
It's absurd.
And I've always kind of liked that. It's reason for the season, right?
Yeah.
Here's it doesn't have to be exact date, right?
No.
There's still argument on 3 BC or
0 AD or when.
Yeah, all that other stuff. Let's get past that. Let's figure out or we're going here, and let's just start building these traditions. You take, the Christmas tree, the idea of a Yule log, bringing in, an evergreen tree,
Yep.
something that lives through all the cold, right? Bringing that in, and it also brings in and keeps the heat in, it keeps the warmth in it,
Yep.
and brings in a nice smell because it starts to get a little smelly in the
because we're all stuck inside.
Exactly, right.
But also just the ornaments and things like that. Just preparing the way, the whole John the Baptist thing. Prepare ye the way.
Yeah.
But also, I love the fact that there's something about the human mind that says, well, if there's all this joy and light, there's got to be a nasty thing.
Yeah.
And then you get.
But you can't have one with the other, right? You can't have one with the other.
Oh, no, they don't.
Right?
They don't happen at the same time.
No.
They come later on.
But you can't have one with the other. I make this argument with people that claim, they're satanic. They're Satan worshippers, right? Well, you have to believe in God then, right?
You
can't have one without the other, right? You can't have good without the light. I don't want to go into a Star Wars riff here, but it's the same kind of concept idea, right? You can't have the guy that gives gifts to those that are living in the Christly way, if you will.
In goodness.
And what happens if you don't?
That's the other thing as well. Christmas, and especially Santa Claus and Krampus, show kids, especially young children, the concept that, look, I know what the world looks like, and I know how the world seems, but there is justice.
Yeah.
And it's not given by the world. Because one of the things, my son recently, like a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, he learned the truth of Santa Claus. And the thing that had been making him upset and why he was so understanding when it broke his heart, because that lie, I don't know, it's a lie that we tell them, but they have to learn that, because he started to go, this kid was mean to me at school, Dad, and he got us really great present. What happens? And then we had to have a bigger conversation about what forgiveness is.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, because when you look at it as a kid, and that douche nozzle kid gets a present too.
You just call the elementary kid. That's awesome.
This kid that's picking on my kid.
I know. That's the father in you.
I have a whole bunch of words for this kid. This little pig-headed, salt of the earth son of a truck. This kid gets a toy. My son was upset. He's like, why does this kid get a toy? And the answer is, because forgiveness is what we're looking for.
Yes.
But Daddy's a douche. And he's like, yes, my son, he is.
Yes, he is.
But that's the thing. And that's why I really love the idea of a Krampus. We're going to find the douchebag kids, and you may get presents on later on, but we're going to beat you first.
Yeah.
We need to have Krampus runs here.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Yeah. And you see, but you can't have the good without the bad, right? And let's go back really quick. This whole idea of Santa Claus, right? This whole idea that we're lying to our children, right? Isn't it the power of belief, right? Isn't it what keeps the season alive? Don't we like doing that, right? Who says you can't be 50 years old and still believe in the power of Santa Claus, right? Even if you get to play him. Right.
Yeah.
In the real world, because it brings. Well, you get to play Saint Nicholas, which is a little different than. I'm pretty sure you're not busting out the red suit and all that other stuff.
No, but I am bringing gifts
at church, right? Yeah, but that's what he did too, right?
Yeah.
So you're sticking with the Christian tradition here, but this idea that if that this, and it's a good segue, because you believe in stuff you can't physically see.
Yeah.
Right? And isn't that part of the Christian faith? Right? We're basing our belief in our faith on something we can't physically touch. We're the only one that got to do it, and the only one that wanted to do it, and the only one that doubted it was St. Thomas.
Yeah.
Right? So, and we kind of touched on him in an earlier podcast, but it's the same concept here, right? The other guys are like, nope, I'm in. I believe I'm doing the same thing. Why can't we do it with? Because who doesn't go to the mall or wherever you're at, and you see a Santa Claus there, and you wave, and he waves back, or he waves and you wave back, right? And you're
worse, you wave and he just kind of goes. The 2 fingers to the eyeball.
One of those
fingers.
Right?
He's like, I see you.
And
if I was a mall Santa,
the older girls still do all the crazy things, like you there's the Santa tracker, right? I have
Oh yeah,
but you can also get where you can type in somebody's name and it'll tell you how they are on Santa's list and how put
nice.
down they are, right? And what they need to do. And it's things like they need to brush their teeth more, they need to clean up their room, they need to make sure they go to bed at bedtime, things like that. Well, I've got a 22-year-old daughter that I still send that stuff to. Hey, look what Santa's saying about you, right?
But yeah, that's we can on the Alexa device. You can actually call Santa, and we do every day. And my
Yeah.
my 5-year-old adores it. But my son found out, when my son found out and learned that Santa Claus was more a part of the belief system as opposed to a real
But then you
gentleman.
have to bring him in.
But that's the thing. Yeah, it's the same thing I did with the tooth fairy. I was like, dude, now you're a part of it.
Yeah.
And it hurt him a little bit, but then he was like, so you mean I get to he was like, yeah, man, you get to help wrap, you get to do some stuff. This is what my son said to me.
Hide gifts like Red Ryder BB guns.
He said, do I get to have some of the cookies?
Yeah.
And I was like, by rights.
See, at my house, Santa gets Little Debbie Christmas tree cakes. That's how it rolls at my house.
So
we don't leave out cookies. We leave out Little Debbie Christmas tree cakes.
All right, so let's do that real quick. That's now. What was it when you were a kid? What'd you leave out when you were a kid?
Cookies.
Okay.
But I lived up north. We didn't have Little Debbie's in Michigan.
Which you're welcome for, by the way. When I was...
We had Entenmann's.
When I was young...
Philadelphia.
When I were a lad, we put out...
Was it wee lad?
When I were a wee lad, we do Christmas baking every year. We do Christmas cookie baking day.
Yeah, there's always homemade cookies.
We put out chocolate crinkles, and we put out a bourbon and Coke.
And
that's when I was 9 years old, and I was like, Daddy, because I tried it one time because I wanted to have some Coke.
No, some Coke, right?
And this Coke went bad, and my father was like, don't spit it, and I spit it right back in. It was a highball too. And he was just like, that was the last of the bourbon. I was like, why do we give Santa bourbon? And that I've never seen.
Warms him up in his sleigh ride.
My father, being a psychologist, a drug and alcohol psychologist, said, and I quote, "It relieves the tension enough for him to adequately perform his duties." That's the kind of, if that tells you anything about me. To which awesome. I then said, okay, because I was dumb.
Yeah.
And then nowadays, we don't put milk in cookies that we used to. Nowadays, there are Chips Ahoy cookies, non-chewy, because those are abominations, and a big old Mexican Coke.
There you go.
Made in Hecho in Mexico with the sugar.
Yeah.
2, 1 for Santa, and now 1 for his elf helper.
There you go.
Because my son was very adamant about that.
And who doesn't want to drink a Mexican Coke at midnight?
Oh my God.
At night, whenever you do.
They're so good.
Right, and okay, let's talk about the goofy little tradition that we started last year with Hawkeye.
Oh, no, that's not a goofy tradition.
No, but
that's
think about
brilliant.
it. Yeah.
Tell the nice people about your Hawkeye.
So the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, right?
Yes.
Came out 2 years ago now, right? It premiered 2 years ago, right?
Oh, God.
And they did it over a weekly thing, right?
It was great.
It was great. It was a great series. Last year, I was kind of thinking about it going, it would be kind of cool. Because, there's advents all over the place, right? You can get advents with cookies. You can get advents with wine. You can get advents with beer. You can get advents with
things that are other than alcohol. And what the heck, man?
And I was going to say chocolates here in a second.
No, Legos. You can do that with Legos.
Oh, you can do it with Legos too?
You can do it with Legos, Funko Pop. He only knows the alcohol one. Legos, Funko Pops. You can do it with candy. You can do it with all sorts of cool crap.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah. No, I know which ones you stuck with. But Shetty comes up to me. He sends out this email, and it's, here's your Hawkeye viewing guide.
Yes. You start on the 19th.
But it's hard to do because the last one requires a midnight watch.
Yes. The last one, you start on the 19th, December 19th. You watch episode 1. And we were dorky and nerdy. Yes. We would text each other, watching it now.
Watching
or I just finished. We kept each other in check.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how dorky and nerdy we are.
We are both that.
Right? But the last one, episode 6, you have to watch on Christmas Eve because it takes place on Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. And if you time it out right, after midnight, when the show is ending, it's Christmas morning when Hawkeye gets back home. So in theory,
37 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 37 minutes into it, it becomes Christmas Day.
Yeah. So you have to time it out. So where it becomes midnight, where you're watching it as he's arriving home for Christmas. And then you're celebrating Christmas with Hawkeye.
And let's be freaking honest, you're up wrapping stuff anyway.
You could be, yeah. Putting that bicycle together.
Or in some cases, the god-awful playhouse. Barbie is a monster. But, it was great. So what was your favorite kid Like when you were a kid, what was your favorite tradition?
I don't know about tradition. We always just went to everybody's house. But I remember one year they the adults put reindeer
Oh, Prince.
reindeer prints in the snow.
Reindeer
Reindeer
Prince.
prints in the snow. Now you can know where we understand got the deer prints from because we's all big hunters, right? Because we Yankee rednecks, right? But they put boom, 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 and you saw all like they did. So what the hell?
Wow.
Forward, so 32 prints in a row,
Good Lord,
right?
that's a lot.
The boom, 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 right in the front yard,
That's amazing.
right? So I remember that. And then the other one was my dad goes, "Hey, I hear a noise in the basement. Why don't you go check it out?" I was 4.
I've seen this horror movie. It does not end well.
First of all, for those of you that don't live in the northern parts of the country, basements get cold, especially if they're unfurnished.
Yeah, I'm
And
a
we had
Texan.
an
I don't know.
unfurnished basement, so it was
Ooh.
really cold, say on that December 25th morning. And 1 is dark. Because if it's unfurnished, you're only going to have a light or 2. And 3, that's where the sump pump was, right? And it always made a
Mhm.
little bit of a weird noise. If you've seen Home Alone, Kevin's scared of the furnace in the
Yes.
basement, right? Kind of the same concept, but the sump pump was a hole in the basement, right? That just, as your septic tank, right, it helps regulate stuff, but it also acted as like another boy potty. If somebody was in the bathroom and you just had to tinkle, you just go down there and pee in the hole, right? Because it all goes out the same way anyways,
Yep.
right?
That
And
makes
I'm
that-
4. He wants me to go down and figure out what that noise was in the basement because, in my dad's loving genius, he decides to put my present down there. Right, as it was a big wheel.
Oh,
Right.
the Power Wheels ones?
The old school '70s big wheel with the big wheel
Oh.
here with the whammy bar that spun you
Oh,
out when you
yeah.
did that. Yeah, right. But
Man, those are
he
dangerous.
wanted me to go down there and discover it and find it after hearing a noise in the basement. I'm 4. I am now 50. I'm going, oh man, you're the one with all the guns. You go grab one and go. Sending me down there. 1 is cold.
2.
2, I'm just in my footy PJs.
But there was a big wheel, man.
I know, but it was 4 in the basement and it was dark and it was cold. Right.
Mine, it's always been the specials. There are 2 specials that, if they ever come on TV, we watch: Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Those would always come on Thanksgiving night.
Many of them would. Not up north, maybe, but down here.
Thanksgiving night.
No, down here they would change it. It was the first week of December. NBC, ABC, and all them. CBS would do it.
Rudolph is a J.C. Penney creation.
Yep.
To sell stuff.
Rankin Bass.
And got the agreement with CBS. So it was always on CBS.
Well, that's why when you go to J.C. Penney right now, you'll see a lot of Rudolph stuff.
Yep.
But it would always be the first week. They would always replay it the first week, and it had the big special sign that would.
Yeah.
But my family, we would always watch it because we always ate at the table, but we would eat at the coffee table.
Yeah.
It was very Japanese style. We'd sit there and we'd have pizza.
Oh no, they would replay. No, they replay it on Christmas, right?
Oh no, they were playing. Yeah, like actually the first. They played it once or twice.
They played a couple times.
Because this is before we actually had like video copies of it and stuff.
Yeah,
like
it was must watch TV. It was CBS. 8 Central, 7 Central, or 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
Oh yeah, but we would go there and we would have pizza and watch it as a family.
Yeah,
and it was glorious because you'd watch the Bumble and you'd watch the Hermie the elf. But what I loved is one year our lights went out and we couldn't do it, so we packed up in the car. We went to Mr. Gaddy's Pizza. And Mr. Gaddy's Pizza had a big projector and had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on there, and we all watched it, and it was great because every time I see Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I taste pizza.
Yeah.
But my favorite one, because my father is a huge Christmas Story fan, We always have Chinese food on Christmas Eve.
Are you taking him to A Christmas Story at the movie theater?
I'm going
In a
to.
couple of days. You better hurry up. I bought tickets a month ago, and the theater was 3/4 sold out already.
Probably not then. But
Uh,
he doesn't like going out to the movie theaters anymore.
yeah, but if he likes that movie, I mean, I'm taking my middle child because my oldest is in Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm taking her, and then the youngest wants to tag along with us.
That's in Regal, right?
Right. No, it's the Cinemark.
I think Regal does it too. I'll see if they got
Regal
some.
might do it too, but yeah, the Cinemark at the mall,
Yeah,
by the mall is where we go because it's where we live,
yeah.
right? And when I bought tickets in October, like early October, the Wednesday night 7 o'clock showing, because there's only 3 showings.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Wednesday night theater was 3/4 sold out already.
Because it's
in October.
It's that big a deal.
Yeah.
But we have Chinese food every Christmas Eve. We have Chinese food, and we order it from the same place. We go to the same restaurant, Imperial Garden 2 on 2920.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, on the Weta. Imperial Garden 2. I don't know where Imperial Garden 1 is. Well, there's only one. Imperial Garden 2. They have the best dumplings. We used to go out there to the restaurant, but then it got packed, and we'd put our reservation in days before.
Yeah.
They knew we were coming.
Yeah.
But now we just get it delivered. And we call before we go to church because it takes that long for it to get there.
Yeah.
We go to the church service and we come back. Somebody always comes back early, gets the Chinese food set up, and now we sit there and we watch all the Rankin Bass
Yeah.
with our kids, and they flip and love it, man. I think that's what it is. It's the time when being a kid kicks the most butt.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the payoff, and there's all this fun stuff, and nobody's really upset about anything. It's great.
Yep.
So
You'd stay up late to go to midnight mass.
I'm serving that day. I get to stay up for the 10 o'clock service and do that.
I'll be in Missouri this year for that, so I'm not volunteering at all for any of our services this year. I won't be in town.
Well, you have fun with that.
Yeah, buddy.
But which one's your favorite of all those things? Which one's your favorite?
Oh, I'm a big Christmas guy.
Me too. Huge Christmas guy.
I can. Like I said, we could do Christmas. Like I said, I'd rather. My middle child, she loves Halloween, so we can go straight from Halloween for Christmas for all I care. We can skip over Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving is just college football season. I'm sorry, November.
That's fine.
November is just college football season, and it just gives me something to eat while I'm watching a game at 6:30.
Thanksgiving is cranberry season for me. It's the time I can get cranberries and not get laughed at. But all right, I think that'll wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
See y'all later.
See you later.
Bye.